Well, gentlemen, as Doc Neeson once said, this is it, boys. Over the top, or up to the top.
Right.
This is it, Grant. We're in the big stand.
I'm pounding the desk because Jeff is demanding a big show, and what bigger can it be than to talk to a man who's got his own medal and has been to the second best medal count in town. Tell us all about it.
I am a celebrity and everyone should know that by now, and I got to walk the red carpet and have my photo taken by everyone. It was fantastic.
No, you didn't. Did you walk the red carpet?
It's the only way in, mate, for us people. You have to walk the red carpet.
For us people.
Us people.
It was me, it was Jamie Rogers, a couple other fellas walking the red carpet together.
Well, I'm sorry, us bottom feeders are here to entertain you tonight. Was it a good night, Bards?
Fantastic, mate. It really was. And hopefully Grant will put up a picture of Jamie Rogers every time I mention her name.
Jamie Rogers here from TAB Sportsbet.
Fantastic. To be in that room, mate, just surrounded by legends. I have been in a room with the 1961 Premiership team. That was probably a little bit better. But yeah, to look around the room and see Brownlow medalists after Brownlow medalists and champions, mate, it's fantastic.
And Jamie Rogers.
And Jamie Rogers on my table. I didn't have to look around the room for her.
We're beneath Bards now, clearly.
Well,
What do you mean now?
I should have pushed you over the ledge on Friday night when you were standing up on the seat after the game. Next time I will push you
I
over.
think I was jumping up and down on the seat after the game.
You'd have killed 6 Geelong supporters walking out of the ground.
Possibly. Maybe more.
All right, Bards, well, it was a big night. It wasn't looking that way at three-quarter time, and we'll come back and talk about that very shortly. But what was the score?
Scores made, Hawthorn 14-18, 102, defeating. Yes, that's right, defeating Geelong. 15-7, 97.
And the goal kickers?
Gunston 4, Burgoyne 3, Hale 2, Hill 2, Guerra 1, Bruce 1, and Franklin 1.
All right, well, we're going to go to the votes, and we know you base it on stats, so 5 has got to clearly be Sam Mitchell, and then you can fill in the other 4 after that.
Well, mate, I base this on influence on the game, and Sean Burgoyne is getting 5 votes. He picked us up, put us on his shoulders, and dragged us across the line. Mitch gets 4 because if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't have been a line for Sean to drag us across. 3 to David Hale, another fantastic game from the big fella. 2 votes, could go anywhere with this, but I'm going to go with Gunston. 4 goals, had a hand in a couple others as well. What have I got left? 1 vote, going to Bradley Hill for his big finals game for him.
And do you realise how distracted he is since he's been on the table with Jamie Rogers?
Look, let me understand this. Explain this to me like I'm a 3-year-old, Bart. Sam Mitchell had 38 possessions in a preliminary final was the only drive we had out of the guts, basically after half-time, and you want to give 5 votes to Sean Burgoyne. Now, Sean Burgoyne was terrific, but if any man deserved 5 votes, it was Sam Mitchell. It was maybe the best game he's played for Hawthorn.
Could have been, but
38 possessions.
you reckon based on stats, we'll have a look at their Supercoach ranking points.
Supercoach.
Based on influence on the game, and Burgoyne, because his possessions and what he did was at the turning point, gets him over the line.
That's absolutely ridiculous, Bards. I love you like a red-headed stepchild, but that's absolutely ridiculous.
To be honest, Mitchell had the 5 votes until Grant preempted my vote, so I swapped them around.
All right, well, let's get on to that game. And it was an interesting game, wasn't it? At half-time, I said, I think we'll win it. At three-quarter time, you said, how?
I said I was going home at full-time.
I think I was resigned to the fact that we were going to lose when we were 20 points down. So as we came back, it was just exciting. You weren't worried about losing. Then when we got in front, you started to quiver a little bit.
I just recall the three of us hurling abuse and all sorts of mouth fluids over the balcony, telling Geelong supporters, everyone to all go and get stuffed.
I don't think stuffed was the word you were using.
No, I used the word stuffed. I did hear a few F-bombs and C-bombs from people around me.
Oh, mate, it was very exciting. I don't think either of us saw what happened at the end with Rioli's pass to Franklin, because we knew how long was left, and when Rioli marked it, we were jumping up and down and carrying on, and we missed the end of the game.
Yep.
I think I said something along the lines of, you can stick your Kenneth's curse somewhere, way up somewhere.
Jeff has been right all along.
No ticker when it mattered.
The only time we've played them in a game where there was no tomorrow, no next week, and we beat them.
Be fair, Bards, though. I mean, we pinched that the other night. We absolutely pinched it according to that head ducking cheat.
We had 10 more scoring shots and we pinched the game.
Mate, we won just about every category statistically. That little to come out and denigrate the Hawks after the game, geez, it was fun seeing him get rolled last night. I loved it.
I told you during the weekend that the bloke should pull his head in because he was good at that.
He's good at sticking it out.
So the Selwood family have had a great weekend, apparently. He's lost to Brownlow. He's lost the preliminary final.
Troy did well on Sunday.
Yeah, Box Hill's got up. And then Adam's been playing for one of the teams over in WA, and they lost too. So a great weekend all around for the Selwood family.
Sensational results all round, I say.
Well, let's move on. Do we have a blast?
I do, mate. I have a blast. It's aimed at our friends in green and the way that they give votes in games. Last night, I had the pleasure of sitting at the Brownlow medal in the room of champions and listening to these turkeys put their votes up on the screen. 6 games we won where the opposition got 2 players getting votes and we didn't. They're kidding themselves, aren't they? I can handle a bloke being absolutely standard, maybe getting a 3 if you get the other 2 on the 1, or maybe someone gets a 1. But 6 times, they gave more votes to the opposition than what we got in games that we won. Then you look at the overall votes, and overall, we won more games than any side. The 3 games we lost, 2 of them were by about a goal. We come about 4th in total votes. What are these blokes on? They're just, what are we, just too even a team and no one stands out? Kidding themselves. Sydney lost 4 more games than us and got 95 votes. We got 83. They're kidding themselves, these blokes. All well and good for the bloke who wins this award, and I'll be wrapped if a Hawthorn player won it, but there's something wrong with the way they hand them out. 22 players last night. You want to pick an All-Australian side. The first 22 players, all of them, bar one, Jared Ruffhead, midfielders. The award's losing a bit of prestige, I reckon.
A whack. And I know you have a whack because you brought this up on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, well, I've got 2 whacks. The first whack is around the national anthem and the rude I'll call them because that's what they are. Rude that will not take their hats off, stand there with their hands on their hips, talk all the way through the national anthem, do whatever they do without paying any sort of respect. Now, I can accept the counter-argument that the national anthem is played far too frequently at sporting events. I understand all of those things, but when the anthem is played, you stand up and you take your cap off. That's the first thing. But the second thing, and the whack that I was going to go with tonight, centres around the Brownlow medal, Bards, and this will resonate with you more than anybody because you were there live. A well-placed pause is a good thing. But when I hear D, Swan, round 4, round 5, round 7. Every single round, Andrew Demetriou, in almost every single game, has this bullshit pause as though he's trying to build suspense. Andrew, nobody likes you, mate. Just call out the votes, sit down and shut up.
Very nice, Whereas I did read today on an internet forum, someone hoping that Andrew has the same pause when he reads out the list of Essendon players being sanctioned by ASADA. 6 months, J. Watson. I can't claim credit for it, but I'm going to go with it.
Well, you did the sound effects, the voiceover. Well done, Bards. Well, you're back, Adam. We'll turn to the Facebook, and apart from Jamie Rogers appearing and Bards' table stuff for the fairest and best, of course, a bit of activity.
A lot of activity this week.
Let's start off Brendan Whitecross. That's quite unfortunate.
Shattering, really. Twice in a row. Poor bugger. I really hope the guy can bounce back. He's a ripping fella, good footballer, and, you know, how unlucky can you be?
Jeff had a good one. Does Lewis frustrating everyone about stupid free kicks? And there was a shocker in there. Didn't he give a 50-metre penalty?
There was one, but look, Jordan Lewis plays his football on the edge. That's his thing, you know. You want Jordan Lewis angry. I think he's a great footballer, and I think he's an unsung hero at Hawthorn, and if he gives away the odd 50, well, then so be it.
Now, Adam, are you going to have your camera ready for photos this week?
No, go and get stuffed.
Just in case you didn't
go and get stuffed.
Here's a couple of photos that you should have got.
Yeah, good for you.
And here's one Mrs. Howe's got of us all.
Yeah.
You like that one? Old chins.
My chins were hidden by the scarf.
3x3 chins. What did you think of my comment around the Dockers will be down to 21 men by half-time because McFarlane will go home?
Yeah, well said. Can't add much more than that.
We've got to have a crack at these blokes, you know, because there's a bit of a rivalry. There's McFarlane, there's Zach Dawson. We gave him Crody, we took back Crody. We gave him Crody, we picked up Luke Hodge.
Look, I'm happy enough for Zach Dawson to be playing in another grand final. I think he probably wasn't given the opportunity to develop at Hawthorn the way Clarkson wanted him to play. He sort of seems to suit that Ross Lyon style of dour defence, and I don't have any ill will towards Zach Dawson. I think good luck to him.
No, he's a good luck charm. Last time we played at the MCG on grand final day, and Zach Dawson was on the MCG on grand final day, we won.
That's cold.
He was our representative in the grand final sprint.
He was our representative. How did he go?
No good.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
He absolutely loved it. I was sitting not far from the cheer squad, and they gave him a big rev up, and he was dancing up for the crowd. And he got through the heats. He made it out onto the ground that day. Of course, he's been out there a couple of times with the Saints for no result, so let's keep it that way.
Look, he's developed it all reasonable enough football, and they can run a line through the grand final sprint this year if Adelaide put Paddy Dangerfield up again.
So I've got some comments about Swabby and Condo there to take out Ballantyne and Crowley.
Yeah, well, we've got Lewis and Brent Guerra. I don't see Hayden Ballantyne getting near anybody, particularly if it's Guerra's last game. I think he might go down and take a couple with him.
All right, well, that's all good. So, how about Box Hill? Let's get on to that. Now, Bards, you couldn't make it because you're getting ready for the Brownlow. Took you 24 hours to do it, of course.
Fake tan and the waxing, mate.
Weathers and I, we went off to the Etihad Stadium, took the little Howes with us. Adam's got to appreciate the skills of one Matthew Spangher.
Yes. You're going to hear something from me, Bards, that I never thought I would ever say, either in public or private, but Matt Spangher was sensational.
You said this to me on a Facebook message the other day. I actually took a screen dump of it for future proof.
Did you? Yeah, I thought he was actually a bit unlucky not to win the medal for best on ground. I thought he was nothing short of superb. Whether or not he long-term viable AFL level footballer is questionable, but certainly at that level he was a little bit above the opposition on Sunday.
Indeed he was. I did watch all the game on the TV, not been able to make it, and at that level, look, he's a handy backup. He's probably not a class AFL footballer, but he's more than a handy backup. One thing you get from him is he gives everything. He doesn't leave anything behind, and he did that on Sunday.
Yeah, and the thing that's undersold about him is he is very, very tough, and he's got an awful lot of courage. He was backing back into pack on Sunday as though he wasn't expecting anybody in behind him, and knew contact was coming, but he kept going back anyway.
Agreed, entirely.
So they played out of the skin. All the players that could possibly play this week all put in a fair effort.
Savage was a bit ordinary again.
Anderson, he played all right.
Simpkin was really good.
Anderson laid a couple of great tackles and bumps, which were good. Like you said, anyone that's AFL listed really played well. Cheney had a good game down back again. Simpkin good. Anderson good. Savage was all right. Nowhere near what he was a week before, but he was all right. Yeah, even Giray used the ball fairly well.
Michael Osborne, he was really good.
All right, Bards, well, this is the big one. This is the team we've all been waiting for now something like 26 weeks.
26 weeks we've been waiting for this day, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 26 weeks of living next door to Clarko.
Lovely, mate. All right, mate, and we've been much anticipating who's going to come into this side. And I can tell you, they're out, obviously, Brendan Whitecross with another ACL, and coming in for his second shot at a premiership medallion in the 6 days will be Jonathan Simpkin. From the back line, Stratton, Lake, Guerra. Halfbacks, Burgoyne, Gibson, Birchall. The centre line, Smith, Mitchell and Lewis. The half forwards are Bruce, Franklin and Rioli. Forward line, Piopolo, Ruffett and Hale. The rucks, Bailey, Hodge and Sewell, and the interchange Hill, Gunston, Simpkin and Shields. Emergencies, Spangher, Savage and Duray.
The emergencies are obvious. The vest wearer, obvious, do you think?
Yeah, I think Simpkin will get that, mate. He's probably come in based on the fact that every time he had to wear the vest during the year, he did a pretty good job with it. And the harder body, he's got a little bit of experience in VFL finals, not quite the same, but he knows what finals are about. And yeah, he probably just had the other two covered. So Anderson probably unlucky not to be named as an emergency. They obviously think Savage is just ahead of him, and then Duray is obviously the small defender type backup, and Spangher's obviously the big backup. So yeah, they've got all bases covered.
Well, let's get on to the game. Where do you start with this one? This is going to be a fairly even affair, don't you think?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I'll get to that later.
Well, you haven't got much time.
I'm tipping exactly the same margin I tipped in 1991 with that other Western Australian mob came to Waverley. I tipped the Hawks that day by 59 and missed out by a goal, and I reckon Hawthorn by about 10 goals again.
Bards, what do you reckon? Let's go margin early.
All right, my margin was going to be 38 points, somewhere around there. I just think that it was talking up Freo's pressure, and that's well and good, and they do throw that out there. But at the end of the day, you know, Sydney have done that to us in the past, even this year, and we've handled it pretty well. We've still, despite their pressure, I think we'll still get more opportunities to score than they will. They're not a high-scoring team. We are, and I think as long as we kick well, we can really bust the game open. And yeah, I'm thinking about that 6 or 7 goal mark.
All of the key matchups, Bards, it seems to me, with the exception of Crowley, I think we at least break even. You know, you see Lake going to Pavlich. Pavlich is a star, but Lake can handle him. You know, you've got Dawson and McFarlane on Roughhead and Franklin, and they'll probably switch around, but I think we've got the edge there. McFarlane's obviously a good player, so is Dawson, but I think we've got a little bit more class. I think our midfield bats at least as deeply as the Dockers does, and at the end of the day, mate, I reckon the Swans were cooked before they got off the plane last week, and I think you can draw a line right through that.
Look, and we took care of the Swans with relatively ease the week before, so Dockers obviously had them beat by half-time and took the foot off after that, but I just think we've got them covered. You know, big time for them coming over here, playing in the first grand final, all that jazz, big crowds, and I just think we'll have the noise there, and I reckon it'll get us over the line.
Well, I'm going to predict Crowley will go to Smith.
And you'd be wrong, but that's a good prediction.
And why do you reckon that'd be wrong?
He'll go to Mitchell.
He won't go to Mitchell.
Won't go to Mitchell?
Mitchell will go boo and he'll bloody shit himself.
Look, if Crowley goes to Mitchell steps back to the half-back line, and we maybe put Hodgie in the middle and get our drive from there. So, look, we've got options in that midfield. One of the best things Clarko's done is get Mitchell playing off half-back, and it just makes that tag that little bit harder and not as important either. You know, if Mitchell gets taken out of the game by Crowley, there's enough else there that we're going to use the ball and put it through another set of hands. And, look, they may well try to do a job on Smith because sides seem to identify his run as being important to us, but it's just a matter of other blokes putting their hands up. Maybe a couple of blokes do go in and lay a bump or whatever and show them we mean business.
I will buy you a case of beer if Crowley immediately goes to Smith on Saturday.
Oh, we're on.
He might go to Smith at some point during the afternoon, but they will put a lot of time into Hodge and Mitchell. They'll look at Hodge's record in big finals, and they'll look at Mitchell as well. He may end up on Smith at some point during the day, but he won't start there.
And how about the other way? Who does Shields go to?
I reckon he either go to Mundy or Barlow.
Yeah, one of those. They seem to have a fairly even midfield. They don't have anyone that's an absolute star. I'm sure he'll get a job, and he'll probably do it well as he did last.
Mate, he could go to Fife. Fife's the star.
He does spend a bit more time forward though, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's probably
fair. Through the forward line a little bit. So, I don't know, we've hardly seen Freo play. To be honest, we've seen him play once a year in Tasmania, so only got what we've seen on TV. So
I got asked the question who will play on Pab, and I said I don't know because he doesn't go to Launceston.
That's it. But good chance. If he gets up the ground, Pav Gibbo will go to him. Lake might end up on the rest in ruckman forward, but if Pav's pushing back towards the goals, then Lake will take him.
I'd put Birchall on him, to be honest.
Try and run off him.
Yeah, because he'll run up the ground, so run...
You're right, if delivery's good, Pav's going to outmark Lake or Gibson on a good delivery and on a lead anyway, so you might be better off trying to hurt him the other way.
And the other one I would say is beware of Buddy coming off the wing, especially if you're Valentine or Crowley, because he's got a mean shoulder, we all know, and that could be the X factor in the game.
Imagine the irony if Buddy lays one out and he has to spend the first 6 weeks at GWS on the bench.
That'd be a shame.
Well, we know a few big blokes running around at Box Hill that are willing to take the current million and carve up amongst themselves and play out of the square. So on that note, I'm going to pick 7 goals, and it's going to be a case of...
Go!
We're gonna win. Don't wanna be a loser.